What's up guys, so I just wanted to make a really quick video summarizing how I think you should refine your equips for all levels of players. Keep in mind the exact gear you use depends on the character and situation, so most of the time I'm changing around certain sets depending on the situation, but I'll at least cover what refinements you should have covered. For the early game, the main stat you'd want to have is 30% crit resistance or more. This will allow your character to avoid getting critted, which is what tramples most new players. You can get crit resist through your shoes, helmet, or chest armor. To get the most stats, I'd recommend only transcending and refining your 5-star gear. Getting them to Epic Refinement would yield the most stats, and to do this, you use gray scrolls to upgrade them from magic to unique, and then you use the red premium scrolls to upgrade them from legendary to epic. Once you've obtained 30% or more crit resistance, the rest of your armor lines can go into an equal split of health and defense. As for gloves, I personally feel they make very little difference at this stage in the game, but as long as you have something like boss damage, crit damage, active skill damage, or even HP to help with survivability, you should be good. For rings, you want to aim for as much cooldown reduction as possible, just trust me on this. With weapons, the ideal stats would be 3 lines of attack percent, and 3 lines of cooldown reduction, but given that is really hard to achieve, I'd focus on cooldown reduction, and if you are able to get some attack on there, then that would be nice too. For all characters but Kain, the max cooldown reduction possible is 60%, whereas Kain's max is 30%. When you're nearing the end of adventure mode, which is stage 1160 during the making of this video, I would consider that mid to late game. The main difference in stats is crit resistance. When you're at the mid game, you want at least 50% crit resist for raids to avoid getting critted. For some later stages of adventure, you'll need even more crit resistance. 61% is a number to aim for. The few exceptions would be later levels of Dark Lord's Tower and Guild territory, which will require more crit resist, so you will likely need to end up setting aside a set of equips geared specifically for tons of crit resist, but I wouldn't worry about this too much until the late game portion. As for your gloves, they stay the same, and your rings, they stay the same. Your weapons will stay the same as well. Continue to reinforce everything to level 50, and then look towards upgrading your front lines gear towards 70. In regards to weapons, take a look at my weapons tier list and make sure you upgrade all the top tier weapons to 50 and then 70. Lastly, we have the late to end game, which doesn't change too much either. As I mentioned before, Dark Lord's Tower and Guild territory at the later areas require super high crit resist, often needing 99 to 175 crit resist depending on the level. You'll probably need to set aside separate armor sets for this use only. To reiterate with raid, you only need 50% crit resist still. Your other armor refinements can go towards an equal split of defense and health, though if your character is highly transcended and rebirthed, then I prefer to replace a few lines of defense for HP. Fortunately, nothing changes in regards to your rings, gloves, and weapon, so you can keep those as is. At this stage in the game, you should be getting your top tier weapons between 70 and 95 reinforcement, and your tanky sets to 80 to 95 reinforcement. And lastly, I'll quickly cover slasher gear setups. For all characters, it will be beneficial to equip them with maximum cooldown reduction, crit rate, and normal monster damage in that order. If they are ranged, then you can equip them with additional monster penetration. You can get cooldown reduction from your ring and weapon. To get crit rate, you can achieve that through your armor sets along with your ring and glove. For additional monster damage, you can get that from refining your gloves. For monster penetration, you would have to either use the Mistletoe and Durandal weapons that give monster penetration, or get some through the ring. But I'd prioritize cooldown reduction over this stat on your ring. And that is how I would recommend refining your gears in a nutshell. There's definitely a lot more to it, however if I were to go into great detail, then I would be here all day. If you have any specific questions, let me know in the comments below. Furthermore, I'll be covering some armor set combinations for various scenarios soon, so stay on the lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.